Now that we can officially declare Assassin's Creed has murdered Ubisoft with the absolute disaster that it was, and nobody wanting to buy the game, but Ubisoft trying to cope and say, but we have lots of players, the same way that Dragon Age the Veilguard did, yeah, Assassin's Creed officially killed Ubisoft. It's done, it's over. Tencent has increased its holdings to 25%, making it a major part of the corporate structure of Ubisoft. Now, there are multiple questions I have about this, and I've heard 2 points. That A, Tencent's going to keep pushing the DEI narrative into Ubisoft to drive the price even lower so it can have a majority hold of Ubisoft, and that Tencent's just going to start making good games, and then they're going to take the little bits that they have from Ubisoft and make money off of it. And I'm kind of going with the former. They're going to keep pushing the same way they have kept pushing the TikTok nonsense for DEI and woke inclusivity, and are going to keep pushing that into Ubisoft. But in the wake of that, we still have Ubisoft laying people off and closing entire studios down because they can't afford to keep all the studios open with nobody buying their games. But let's read over this article and see where they go. After months of internal emails and corporate reshuffling, Ubisoft Leamington has now publicly confirmed its permanent closure. Studio done, people laid off. Ubisoft can't afford to keep the doors open. The announcement came not through a high-profile press release or coordinated corporate messaging, but instead via a two-part Twitter post on the studio's unverified X account, symbolizing how far Ubisoft's reach has fallen. Now look, it's Twitter. This might actually be fake, but let's pretend it's not. Let's just go with that it's not actually fake, because this was posted April 2nd, so not an April Fool's joke. But the tweet says, Ubisoft Leamington has officially closed its doors. We're incredibly proud of our talented teams whose creativity and dedication have shaped the games we've created, impacting millions of players worldwide along the way. Ugh, about that creativity and dedication. I mean, I guess they were dedicated to this cause that got them laid off, but, let's keep going. We'll still be part of the UK games development. You can keep up with our UK team and future developments by following Ubi Reflections. If you're local to Leamington, you'll still see our remaining team in and around Leamington at local events. So yeah, it seems like they just got rid of all the developers and they're keeping the promotional team. Just something in the area to, post the Yasuke posters that people will laugh and mock at. That's kind of what it sounds like. It's a soft and humble ending for a studio that contributed to major Ubisoft projects like Star Wars Outlaws, Far Cry 5, and Skull and Bones. 2 of those were abject failures. Skull and Bones is one of the worst selling games, one of the most prominent games that was oversold and under-delivered in a huge way. We thought we were getting like Assassin's Creed Pirates type deal, and it turned out to be nothing but just like an empty husk of a game. Like, it was supposed to be this open world, you'd hop on your ship, you'd fight, you'd do all sorts of stuff, and the only place I've seen when I played it's free like 2 weeks was like specific port towns. Everything else was done from the ship, which was really lackluster, and that wasn't even a year ago. So I think at that point it had been out for a couple of years. I could be wrong on the timeline because nobody plays the game and nobody really cares about it. And then Star Wars Outlaws was an abject failure and a flop that everybody just made fun of, as much as they're making fun of Assassin's Creed right now. Far Cry 5 was good. Like, look, I'm not a fan of the new Far Cry series. Here's how old I am. I remember the first 2. I remember the first one where you get infected with stuff and there's like map building modes and multiplayer and you're like going primal and slashing people open because you're like some weird genetic hybrid type deal after a failed experiment. Far Cry 1 was its own thing, and I actually enjoyed it. And I get the new Far Cries are completely different and based nothing on those. I'm kind of okay with it. It's just not my thing. But they do actually look good. Everybody I know who's talked about the Far Cry series absolutely loves it. So I'm not going to hate on Far Cry. It is what it is. But the writing has been on the wall since January when Ubisoft first revealed its sweeping plans to restructure across multiple European offices. Now the closure is complete and it won't be the last. Not even close. Like I said, I think since Tencent is all these companies are Chinese owned and operated by the actual government themselves. Just like TikTok, they're going to keep forcing this down the companies they have majorities. Well, they have stock in and can make decisions, but don't have majorities yet where they can make all the decisions. They're going to keep pushing this down because, unlike the US, the UK is still pushing the woke narrative and importing DEI that's absolutely ruining Europe. And I think Tencent's going to keep pushing that out and try and get that out there so that they can drive the prices even lower and own it wholly. Back in January, Ubisoft announced that the elimination of 185 positions across its studios in Leamington, Dusseldorf, Stockholm, and Reflections in Newcastle. Ubisoft Leamington was singled out for a full closure while other offices were scaled down, so 200 people off. We had nearly 100,000, was it? 100,000 might be a little too much. I know it was at least multiple tens of thousands last year that were laid off in the tech industry that did shit like this. So these numbers don't surprise me at all. In fact, they kind of seem a little low. But then again, I guess they're already running with a skeleton crew, so there's only so much more fat they can trim off. The move was described at the time as part of a cost-cutting strategy to prioritize projects and ensure long-term stability. Yeah, that's corporate speak for we're not making money and we need to start firing people. That's all that is. Shadows has fallen short. Okay, yeah, that if you paid attention at all to anything, you know Assassin's Creed Shadows has been a disaster from the get-go. It's been a disaster in its marketing. It was a disaster when it was announced. Ubisoft continues to claim that Assassin's Creed Shadow has over 2 million players worldwide, which on the surface seems great, but when you look at the language they're using, things start to get hairy. Yeah, touting 2 million players. 2 million players in total, not how many people are playing your game, not how many people purchased the game, how many people played the game at all and didn't pay for it. That's what they're going with. Look, we had 2 million people, most of them didn't pay for the game and were giving it for free, or they just used the subscription service, downloaded it and played it for like 30 minutes, or like, this is hot garbage. That is what happened with Assassin's Creed, because they won't say 2 million sold. They won't say that at all. They just keep saying 2 million players. You know, it's like handing out 2 million sandwiches and saying, we have the most popular sandwiches. 2 million people are eating our sandwiches. But you didn't say bought your sandwiches. You just said eating your sandwiches. The article goes on to say the restructuring at Ubisoft is no longer hypothetical. It's already underway, and it's coming with a new corporate framework built alongside Chinese tech giant Tencent. Earlier this year, Ubisoft officially announced that the formation of the new subsidiary, created in partnership with Tencent and managed in part with the Guillemot family. The goal is clear: consolidate Ubisoft's most profitable assets under a leaner, more efficient entity, while the legacy company sheds weight through closures, layoffs, and project cancellations. Now, this is where I kind of feel bad for the people at Ubisoft that don't deserve this. But what Ubisoft has done is taken all the money makers out of Ubisoft, put them into their own little separate company, and all the people who got those shares and those stocks in Ubisoft and have their retirement plans and have been there long before the DEI nonsense and have just been like, I need my pension, I need to retire, get my money, cash out. All that's gone. And it kind of sucks for those people. But the people that have come in the last 15 years and ruined the company deserve this. Any stock and share they had that's gone to $10, they've ruined the company, so ruin them. Now, like I said, I do feel bad for the people that have been there for longer and don't actually like this and are kind of just like, yeah, I gotta stay here for the pension money. There's nothing else to do. Go start over at a company for less. I do feel bad for those people. But Ubisoft just ripped all that out. They're never making money again. All these people are eventually going to be laid off, and this entire subsidiary is going to be like 5 people in an office somewhere with a records cabinet. Like, that's what this the original Ubisoft's going to be. The subsidiary is going to keep the money. But screw the rest of the company. That is exactly what's happening. And like I said, I do believe that Tencent's going to keep running this Ubisoft into the ground until they can buy it for pennies, go absolutely silent, and have some actual semblance of a good Chinese game with spyware built in the back that they can sell. The same way they did with Black Myth Wukong. That was an absolute banger that actually sold millions of copies and had millions of players. But Ubisoft doesn't have that right now. They need to wait till they get bought out by China. They get run completely into the dirt, then publicly announce that they're bought out, they got rid of all the Ubisoft woke shit, and sell games. Just normal games. And it's pretty bad when gamers are like, yeah, you know what? We kind of trust China to install its spyware in games and ship it to us more than we trust these companies that have been around for 2 and 3 decades and made banger games. They've ruined everything. And it's kind of a sad state of gaming when that's where we're at. But I would love to hear everybody's thoughts in the comment section, guys. While you're there, make sure you smash that like button, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share this one out. And until the next one, guys, be easy like sleazy.